Hello friends, family, total strangers. Today's video is going to be about wild animals and should you be worried about them while living as a nomad. So before I get into it, I'm just going to say I broke my tripod, so I'm having to use my stupid selfie stick, which I haven't used in months. So sorry if there's a little shaking on the camera. And I'm currently up in the mountains around Prescott. It's supposed to be 90 at the ranch the next couple days, and luckily I'm off, so I decided to get out. So I'm at this great little swimming hole. Got my feet in the water. So yeah, wildlife. I think there's three main things that people worry about, three animals that I think people who've grown up in cities their whole lives are really nervous about. And even those who, you know, kind of grown up wild but don't do a lot of backpacking, don't get out, you know, into the wilderness much, really worry about three things, really. They worry about rattlesnakes, they worry about cougars, mountain lions, and they worry about bears, and specifically grizzly bears. You know, I think people worry about black bears too. But we'll get into all of those. And I'm also going to touch on some things that are probably more dangerous, actually. So let's start with rattlesnakes. So a lot of people just really get worried about rattlesnakes. And, you know, they're really not a big deal. They don't really want to tangle with you at all. They have no interest in tangling with you. That's what their whole rattle is about, is to keep you away. It's pretty much saying, hey, get off my lawn. So, you know, just pay attention. You know, your biggest risk with rattlesnakes is just accidentally stepping on one and it biting you because of that. Because they blend in pretty well. So you just have to keep your eyes open when hiking, especially in the summertime. You know, in the winter, I've been in Arizona for 2 winters and I have not seen a single rattlesnake until the one at the ranch a few days ago. So I've never been in Arizona this late, so I'm here in April, and yeah, rattlesnakes are now out. So you just got to keep your eyes open, and yeah, don't step on them. Really, that's really what it comes down to. Don't step on one, and then don't just kill it. You know, I think a lot of people have this instinct to just take a rock and smash a rattlesnake, but they are a very important part of the ecosystem. They help keep the rodent population in check, and yeah, they're not looking to hurt you. They're just looking to defend themselves. That's it, in their little territory. So just when you come up to one, just avoid it. And if it's blocking the path, then throw rocks at it until it moves. Little rocks. Yeah, so that's rattlesnakes, and I think that covers the subject pretty good. I will just give you some stats. Annually, there are about 7,000 to 8,000 rattlesnake bites. So rattlesnake bites are relatively common. I mean, that's still not that many in the grand scheme of things. But about 7,000 to 8,000 people get bit, and about 5 to 6 people die from rattlesnake bites every year. So that's if you get bit, you have a less than 1% chance, 0.01% chance of dying. Less than 0.1. Let's see. Yeah, less than 0.1% chance of dying from that bite. So probably like 0.08. And yeah, so just be careful, don't step on them. To put it in perspective, something like 40,000 people die every year in car accidents. So, yeah, they're not a big deal. They're not a big deal. Next are cougars, mountain lions. Also not a big deal. Your chances, I've been hiking, backpacking, wilderness area. I mean, I've been going to the wilderness with my parents since I was a little kid. And I've been going all the time, really since my late teens, early 20s. And so 20-something years, the last 20-something years, all of the time that I spent in the wilderness, I've never once seen a mountain lion, not once. They're rare. They're very rare, and encounters with them are even rarer than the mountain lions themselves. Less than one person a year, I think, dies from a mountain lion attack. They're very rare. Just some safety tips: if by some miracle you actually do see a mountain lion, never turn your back on it. And actually, I didn't know much about how to deal with mountain lions until recently watching a video with my brother about it. But yeah, never turn your back on a mountain lion or any type of wild cat. It elicits a trigger response, like that'll trigger a wild cat into attacking if you turn your back to it. So never turn your back to it. Make yourself look bigger than you are. If you got trekking poles, hold those up in the air and read its body language. If it's getting ready to pounce and it does attack, fight back. Mountain lions, yeah, fight back is the way to respond. But you'll never see a mountain lion. Odds are there's a very slim chance that you'll ever even see a mountain lion. But yeah, just if you encounter one, don't turn your back to it, and hold your ground and make yourself look bigger. And if it attacks, fight it. So yeah, I mean, that's that. Before I talk about bears and grizzly bears, I'm going to show you, a few weeks ago, I went to Joshua Tree National Park, and I took a bunch of footage, so I think I'm going to split the footage up over the next 2 videos. So here's some footage of Joshua Tree. I wish I had smell-o-vision right now. The smells coming off of these flowers is amazing.
So I think it's in goes that way. I know, but this, yeah, we have to go take some pictures. I would love to find it.
There are so many different types of wildflower blooming right now. It's pretty unbelievable. This is insanely beautiful right now. This is awesome. Hello. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit tepid on coming to Joshua Tree. I just didn't know if I was wanting desert scenery right now, but wow, this is awesome. And all these wildflowers are, yeah, this is awesome. How cool is that? It's pretty awesome. I need to come up with some more descriptors. I use awesome an awful lot and amazing. If you have ideas for more descriptors, put them in the comments. This is the Lost Palm Oasis. Super cool. I probably should have brought my backpack and I could have went back up and backpacked up the way, but I guess we'll just do another trail and backpack there. But yeah, this is majestic. There is a spring here. It's mostly underground, but it comes up in a couple little seeps and then disappears back into the sand. Here's another one. I didn't even see this on the way out. I guess that is probably the Salton Sea off there in the distance. Yeah, Joshua Tree blew me away. I was really not that excited about it. I kind of did it as a last minute whim. I wasn't really interested in going to the desert, but I went anyway, and I'm so glad I did. It was amazing. It really diverse from the different regions of the park. Really, really cool. So anyway, back to the subject, bears. Lots of people worry about bears, and you shouldn't. I mean, they're wild animals, they're dangerous, and you should keep that in mind, but they're not really much of a threat. So, I mean, especially if you're smart about them. I think the stats are something like 2.5 people a year die from bear attacks. And it's pretty much evenly split between grizzlies and black bears. About 1.25 deaths for black bears and 1.25 deaths for grizzly bears. In the grand scheme of things, that is a very small statistic. That's a very small number. You know, and people's risk assessment is just kind of really skewed on this. Like, they think, you know, bears are these big scary predators, but you know, we're really the scariest predator humans are in the whole ecosystem. And most bears are, especially black bears, are afraid of humans, and they avoid us. But you do need to just do a few things to keep yourself safe. I would say the most important thing is keep your camp clean, and when you leave camp, make sure you put all food items away, because you don't want bears to get habituated to human food. And if they show up to campsite and they can always get food, they're always going to show up to that campsite. And if you're there when the food's there, you know, that really increases the chance for an attack. When I go hiking, I carry bear spray. At least I try to remember to, especially if I'm in heavy grizzly bear territory. You know, black bears will usually run. Like, black bears are, for the most part, scavengers. Grizzly bears are very big and very territorial. And there's, you need bear spray if you're in grizzly country, I think. And essentially what they're for is if a bear charges you, you spray it. And the spray is really meant to deter the charge. If it's just in your camp, have your bear spray on hand, pack up your stuff with one hand and have your bear spray in the other, and do it that way, and just get out of camp. That's the way I would handle a bear in my camp. And then if it charges, then you have to spray it. And then leave the area, and then get the heck out. Yeah, get out of the area. And yeah, I mean, if a grizzly bear actually charges you, you spray it and it does nothing and it continues to charge, drop into a ball, play dead. That's how you handle a grizzly bear. A black bear, you should probably make yourself look bigger, kind of like with a mountain lion. Make yourself look bigger, and if it attacks you, fight it. So you have to kind of behave differently for the two different bears. But for the most part, you're not going to get attacked by a grizzly bear. Just be smart, manage your food, don't leave it out, and don't run, because there's a good chance that you'll trigger an attack. So just stand your ground. Yeah, and that's that, you know. And just don't worry about it. You're not going to get attacked by a grizzly bear. Just be smart, and you're not going to get attacked by a grizzly bear. You're much more likely to get in a car accident. You're much more likely to get stung by a bee and die of anaphylactic shock, you know. You're much more likely to die of Lyme disease or a mosquito bite. And just to go back over a couple of those other stats, you know, the 5 to 6 deaths a year from rattlesnake bites, those are mostly elderly people and young people. Most adults, healthy adults who get bitten, live through the encounter, not a big deal. Yeah, so probably your biggest risk factor for a bad animal encounter is more than likely a bee. And even if you've never had a reaction to a bee, it's just a great thing to keep some Benadryl or something in your van. In case you do have a reaction, you have some response, because you're probably out in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, and then just a couple other tips. Any wildlife you see out there, buffalo, elk, don't approach it. They're big wild animals, they're unpredictable. Moose, very unpredictable. And moose can definitely charge. So be smart, keep your distance. And yeah, that's pretty much that. And just don't worry about it that much. You're actually much more likely to get struck by lightning, have a tree fall on you, pretty much any other thing other than a bear, mountain lion, or rattlesnake death. So yeah, just don't worry about it, and certainly don't let that hold you back from hiking and going out and doing things. But just be prepared to have bear spray. The bear spray works on mountain lions too. It pretty much works on anything with a tear duct. It probably would not work on a rattlesnake, because I don't believe they have tear ducts. But yeah, and oh, one more thing to mention. Dogs can actually be dangerous, especially depending on where you are in the country. I think if it's more of an overseas problem, like there's a lot of wild aggressive dogs in Southeast Asia, which I've had bad encounters with, but yeah, dogs can actually be fairly dangerous, and that's where bear spray comes in, because it'll work on dogs too. And yeah, I've just been in some small towns, especially in New Mexico, that had dogs that people just let roam, and they were actually pretty aggressive. So, you know, bear spray works for a lot of different animals. I should just say real quick, bear spray is probably overkill for a dog. You probably don't need bear spray. If you just pick up a rock, and you don't even have to throw it, you just pretend like you're gonna throw it, it'll usually make an aggressive dog back away. Because if it's an aggressive dog, it probably knows exactly what that means, because it's probably had a lot of rocks thrown at it during its lifetime. So just grab a rock and just act like you're gonna throw it, and it'll oftentimes stop an aggressive dog and make it turn around. So yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much my video. So thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, all that fun stuff.